is out of 5 for MIBR trying to go for that mid control. So Power already had their Guardian out and ready. It's an easy tap for that pick. Now you see to rotate over towards this B site, but for a fake. So it does pull the rotate, but thankfully we did wall up towards the A site before.
Oh, outlaw to outlaw. SRN tried to dance in the face of fire. And MIBR working the map more now that WADA have rifles to contest them with. It's now at the top window. It's all MIBR have to work with. Lisa is trying to draw someone down from their perch. This is just such an uncomfortable situation. Sayuri try and throw the knife out there, but 13 seconds. WADA are drawing out the clock. And MIBR need to win this fight. And just barely they'll stand, and WADA hold their ground.
And what I'm liking from WADA so far is the patience that they have and the lack of jitters that we've noticed in their first match against MIBR yesterday in the LCQ in the round robins. They still had struggles against Akave in that second series to finally turn up in that second map and dominate on the third. And even the tweets came out after the matches where Australis and even Juna saying the land jitters are kind of out, still kind of there, but at least their shot are actually quite precise this time around to stop the bonus round from MIBR and try to tie the...
And has had to slow down on these entries. WADA are quick to flick and silence that duelist. They know that Australis has been hanging around this A side. You do not want to be caught in the midst of that slow orb. You just will not be able to escape. And in the wings is Power Pixelate ready to punish anyone caught. As the wall comes up, immediately destroyed. Only a sense of safety for a moment as MIBR hunt that Sage down as Australis has to fall back.
Still loving this movement right now from Adora, pushing all the way down mid. This should punish Lissa. Yeah, there you go. They don't have any more util for the A site for the post plant.
Really gonna need that controller. There's so many openings and WADA are creating them. Bullet holes across. Bastarda will silence the people on this high ground. And man, she's relentless. Now the neural theft going all the way. WADA spotted at the top window. Starbound is not going to have the advantage they were hoping for. They've been supreme with the outlaw before as Bastardo one away from the ace, and Juna sits at the top looking for her first kill as well. Now with the smokes, he's going to have to play some mind games, but now unable to drop and just will not have the time to defuse. But do you want to feed the beast? That is Bastardo, of course you do!
And stand up indeed, Bastarda. Joining MIBR, looking to get back onto the GCC stage with a brand new roster. And she is going to be the tip of the spear if SRN cannot do it. Look at her move around that map. Everything started off so well for the side of WADA to control the Astra, not give a chance to get the post-plant gravity well, and even any util to allow the attackers to get into the site. And Bastarda takes the matters into her own hands. The kills, the neural theft, even a camera baits out and jukes Juna into the 2 recall smokes and nullifies that play that she was trying to make. And that breaks the econ once again of WADA. 2 players now looking towards this B site. The knife is gonna spot Adora in even a drone where Adora cannot now retreat. An opportunity to dive into the site and for SRN to open it up.
MIBR is so good at closing the gap when they want to get onto the B site. Difference though is WADA trying to double up and group together, and now deciding that the retake strat was gonna be key, and WADA just fell apart before they could rotate out. And they didn't even stack together, but wait, this double walk up from WADA is going to remove at least 1 rifle and give it to Australis. This just does not feel very winnable. And MIBR going to keep 1 in main. It's Bastarda. It's now just heating up. The trip triggered. Starbound in their path. Wins that against Bastarda. What is going on? Now the flank is open. The surround is possible. SRN still there. Mel. 5 HP, 2 versus 2. Spike is going to be the one that decides it unless Sayuri or SRN gets involved. MIBR 4-1.
A good eco run in the end. And once again, a nice little plan around WADA to punish always this late lurk or this late positioning from the from Lissa trying to set up these stars for her teammates. So that allows at least a little bit of the game plan for WADA, figuring out the solution to try to upset MIBR in the map that MIBR has picked. But what you have to add on top of that right now for the side of WADA, if you want to confirm and have a strong finish on the defensive side, is making sure that your anchor players are actually doing their job and able to hit their shots. Because if not, these consistent pushes coming out from Adora, from Australis, it's doing a good job here to keep MIBR pinned and sandwiched into the post-plat scenarios of the sites that they choose.
Just this drone alone from Mel is gonna tell you that WADA are standing firm front and center, so MIBR have to be careful. They want to close them off, force them out of the site, but wait, Starbound by themselves. Cheeno was able to get an important cutoff until SRN digs her a grave real quick. But numbers are even. MIBR, the element of surprise, and audio, it's silent on the other side, allowing Australis to get that res. Now it's WADA with the ball in their court, and they're gonna answer with their own cosmic divide, sealing in the site in their favor. MIBR are gonna be forced to fight in. They've been sectioned from each other, and there's even the Australis wall in the picture. MIBR have been out IQ'd in this round. This defuse, you're just gonna have to accept it.
It's so nice. And those are some of the things that King Fred has been drafted for his team on how they want to work this Astra and Sage wall. And mind you, this is nothing new for this type of team. They've done it before in their own as a head coach for the collegiate team of Winthrop University. They also pull out this exact comp. So you could definitely get nerdy around the Sage wall and the Astra wall. How much value that gets. You're trying to break the wall. You can't because the Astra wall prevents you from doing it. And it nullifies all the util into the postman outside of the grab well from Lisa. So a nice retake towards the end, keeping things very clean, but also MIBR keeping a lot of weapons into this round. So they're not really out of the pit yet for WADA. MIBR still has a stronghold, still an op in the hands of SRN, who's looking for the mid control. WADA trying to be proactive by pushing out towards this A main and put Starbound on that line to cover that spot. That will allow now WADA to over-rotate and focus on mid B control.
Power Pixel, the main component to be giving that information to WADA, has to be so flexible within these rounds now to drone up early on A, as you said, to try and go into B, but just that moment alone where Power Pixel is not watching mid has allowed this insertion of Bastarda. You've already given her an ace. Now waits for the pieces, the pawns, to be set up for MIBR, and it could be quick dashes from SRN if she wants to maybe give this op to someone else. From some force by the other side, it's an op 2 from Starbound that MIBR are now aware of, as they have to traverse carefully. SRN already dashing, trading up, getting rid of the op, as now this flank is gonna come in big from Bastarda through B-Link. An easy double, now living in the mines right free of WADA. Now have to make a decision carefully if they want to keep this up. How good does this opportunity look? It all depends on if Australis can get a contact play on anyone that sits below. As MIBR want to keep WADA honest, they want to keep the pressure on, and Power Pixel tries to draw attention towards them. Has the Hunter's Fury, and WADA are taking too long to decide, so it will be a save.
Had a small mistake, I think, in terms of rotating around the map for WADA. Everything looked really good at the start to take that line forward on the A line. And at that minute mark, you actually wall off towards the top U-Haul, or I call it horseshoe here, right where Power Pixel is playing. So you can't really get that lurk from Bastarda into the A site. But what does that leave? It leaves a gap towards the middle hallway. The doors are going to be the audio queue that allows our Starbound to react a little bit better on how they want to take over that A site, maybe push out of that. And it seems as though Australis was afraid of that moment. So she stayed behind her wall instead of rotating across and going for the 4-player stack on that B site. And by not rotating over, that allowed this gap to happen for Bastarda to move right through and get those 2 kills that we just saw on the screen. So a little bit of miscomms on how you're rotating around, but everything was looking good until then.
Wanted to at least put a band-aid on that and keep the op. Try to minimize the unnecessary risk. WADA have to keep control of mid, as well as Australis holds down the main line as Power Pixel unleashes, and MIBR stuck in spawn, but Bastarda tries to put the red carpet down in mid. A familiar route for them. But WADA now be spotted by this neural theft that Bastarda has provided yet again, a winning round that was gifted to MIBR because of that information. Now you know what the setup is of WADA. MIBR, what's your next move?
That's a great little ult that was thrown here by Bastarda, because that actually eliminates and cancels out the forward pushes that we just saw from Adora. Adora's still about to get met up by Melissa here.
Okay, Melissa goes past the defenses, but the op still rings true on the left side of the map as MIBR at least have the best person try and make that op uncomfortable. It's Sayori. Flash, knife, everything at their disposal. You got the ultimate fragger with the captain. Wind in the sails of MIBR as they want to take a familiar route now through B-Link. This has now been triggered. Starbound know what's up. And the flash doesn't come out. And they did not know Starbound was going to be that close. But the op still drops. And MIBR just barely get a plant off. It's all up to the ace of MIBR to hold back against the 1v2. Power Pixel A can at least check this back box with the shock bolts. It all depends on the element of mystery that WADA want to maintain. Checking through main. Spike tapped. WADA want to hurry this up, and Power Pixel A ends it quickly.
Nice try by Bastarda. Hearing the tap, knowing that she could maybe take a one-on-one, and especially checking the camera on the top heaven, that there's not going to be a rotate on that side, so she could lean back towards Troll, but unfortunately does not get that pick. Comes down to, again, just nice aggression out from WADA. A good read in the very beginning to go toe-to-toe right at the start of the A site, and Power Pixel getting value out of the Hunter's Fury. You can already see them as well being fairly vocal, talking to their team right after the round ends, saying, look, we got this. We're looking much better than we did the first time we played off against MIBR. Remember how one-sided it was for MIBR, where I think the cast in itself, and I think everybody will wholeheartedly agree, that they were just getting diffed by everything from macro, micro, to even aim duels. Everybody was still shaky on the side of WADA, but now they're looking way more composed, way more united on the way they're trying to defend here, these sites against MIBR. And now they have to defend a 5-player hit.
Back-to-back rounds for WADA, able to recover the op 2 for Starbound, making things cheaper in the long run, and MIBR, so many smokes to try and traverse through and trying to change up how they get onto the site. Not the immediate dashes from SRN, rather the initiator that's gonna make things easy. And it's the Hunter's Fury to mark Adora at the back, who's gonna need support, and the high ground gets taken out. So MIBR winning these duels fairly easily here on B, but WADA's reinforcements not gonna waste any time, as Astralis won't waste a single bullet. Dumps it into SRN. Now that the tip of the spear starts to be blunted here for MIBR, at least they have the spike on their side. And just the isolations are pretty huge for WADA, but the drop down's awkward from Adora. At least you know where this Astra is. The rest of MIBR stay in the main lane. Starbound will stay in their lane too. MIBR double the score.
What an anchor spot by Lisa to get that 4K in the round. It looks so good at the very beginning. They got that first pick, a big whiff. Rarity coming out from SRN in the very beginning that allows now Adora, who was actually the chess piece that was needed to start the retake with the dimensional drift. As they get information on the site, easy kill onto the KO. But after that, what was missing? Why are we not flooding with Adora dropping down on that bridge? Why is there no smoke towards that front? Maybe the util wasn't there, so you still needed to have your Yoru try to find that information around that site for that front to allow a safe cross or at least some sort of advantage for a trade. But MIBR, they break the bank of WADA once again. We have a hero rifle in the hands of Astralis, and they're trying to work a 4-player walk down mid, while Astralis is
trying to outnumber that solo player, often Bastarda, or maybe a second player from MIBR that like to walk down mid, and MIBR just cracking B like an egg. Success at getting first bloods almost every single time they choose this route. And now WADA just hope to keep this rifle, and Astralis may have to just fade into the shadows. That's all WADA have going for them.
One damage is good though, so getting another pick, dying, and get a res into the next round. You could buy into the next round as well for WADA. I think they're starting to see how pressing it is for Astralis to, or for themselves to try to break the bank of MIBR to stand a chance. This makes it difficult though. Astralis swinging out of that one and getting picked off. She's still one away from getting the ult up, so they won't have as much as a comfortable round if they want to try to go for this aggro push that they've been doing so far quite consistently in the beginning of their defensive rounds.
At what point do WADA want to change the Sentinel setup here?
Now.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, plenty of time to talk about it now during this attack pause called by WADA. 2 rounds left in the half. I think Astralis has done such a fantastic job on the right side of the map, but clearly the left side is the weakest, and Starbound can only do so much. Very clean mechanically, but when a Jet is dashing at you, there's some cover you got to play around with. There's the rest of the team that can flood in behind SRN. There's got to be some reinforcement, and I don't know if the smokes are going to be enough.
Exactly. I think that brings out a huge point. Yes, you have a Senti and Starbound, but if you miss the shot, that's a site open as well. You're not playing a Cypher, you're not playing a Vice. So there's no big stalls towards this B site where even trap kills in this current patch of 11.07 are still very, very viable. So you have to adapt a little bit more. But if they decide here in this timeout to put more bodies to support towards this B site, it means that middle is going to be a weak point for WADA right now. So if that's going to be the case, fight towards B, and you place, let's say, a trademark on middle, then how do you react? Do you want to collapse into middle to fight back, or do you want to fight the front B site as well? And to the looks of it, I'd love to go for the fight towards the front B instead, because you always have this late lurk from Bastarda. If you eliminate the forefront, there's going to be a lot less for you to work with towards the back.
MIBR with the lead, but the same game plan going forward. Hit the B site. Nothing's changed for WADA. Maybe just the approach. Kind of these more aggressive stances, like where Adora is. And this is the past repeating itself. Now you got Melissa getting first blood. Juna can go pretty back and forth, toe to toe. So it's not always a 5-person post plan for MIBR, but WADA tries to make the job easier. This time, not cutting through their own spawn, but deciding through B-Link or elsewhere.
Always very good, at least on a rotates back. Now it's the retake that's a little bit hard, because now you're walking into uncertainty. You don't have anything available. Maybe a recon dart could help you right now, but a dart already fell.
One enemy remaining.
Now Recon doesn't get anything, but a false sense of security. Actually, he does get the one ping, and Astralis handles business. Now it's a 2 versus 2. The numbers are equal, and MIBR gonna hold their ground, and the angle on the high ground, that's a miss. SRN has to readjust, and Melissa will get the ace, but MIBR will get the round win.
What a huge opener by Melissa, too, to diff Starbound with a snipe rifle when she's walking up with the Vandal to win that in the back control. You have to be quick and reactionary on that. Look at that. As soon as Starbound peeks out, Melissa already had her crosshair placement there, so all you need to do is to react on time for the tap, and she lands it perfectly. There was the idea there after the timeout to actually get a little bit of a aggression out of the side of WADA. Adora do a little bit of that leaf jump on that left side, the right side of the abyss.